Fusion. What can I say about Fusion? It's a great game, an amazing experience for the Metroid franchise, and yet accomplishes this by not fully being a Metroid game. Huh? Fusion in a lot of ways changes the formula of the Metroid games. You are no longer in a planet filled with flora and fauna that wants to kill you. Now you're in a space station that's filled with flora and fauna that wants to kill you. Instead of having to explore to get items in order to keep exploring, now you have to follow a set path for said items. Instead of being a powerful tank that can destroy everything, now you are very weak and can't take a hit. Instead of having a story that you can piece together and come up with your own interpretation, now there is a proper/traditional form of story. It's surprising how much Fusion changes to the point of almost not being a Metroid game, and yet somehow still feels like Metroid. It still feels like this belonging here. Señor Yoshio Sakamoto, ¿cómo le hiciste, carnal? ¿Qué clase de brujería usaste? Maybe I'm not gonna get any answer anytime soon, but at least I can come up with my own. So, why is Fusion so good? Y mejor que Super. One of the things that Metroid games excel in the visual department is atmosphere. Every single game will try to get you feel something with their environments. Mystery, tragedy, hostility, in the case of Fusion, is claustrophobic, and I don't think it's by accident. This game, by all intents and purposes, is a bit of a horror game, and all the environments reflects it. All areas are imitation of environments found in other planets, specifically SR388. There is a blend of organic environment, but the man-made structures are still very present, so no matter where you go, you feel trapped. And it only gets worse because there is going to be several times where destruction and debris will block your path, forcing you to go even deeper in the unknown. Every single enemy design, and in an extent Samus as well, feels wrong, but in a good way. Like mentioned before, es casi un juego de terror, so the designs must reflect that. The great majority of the enemies are taken from the second game, Samus Returns, and I think the artists were able to do a lot more than just add color. They were able to give them personalities, and the bosses are straight up nightmare fuel. And let's not forget, the reason behind all of this is the Twitter parasite. Sorry, I meant to say the X parasite. These floating blob things are very much the reason why the place is in shambles, and at some points of the game you have to avoid them. But it's kind of ironic because in order to regain some of those upgrades, you'll need to get closer to them. Music in this game is atmospheric. All the themes fit perfectly to the corresponding areas that they belong to. It can be haunting, oppressive, mysterious, or even a bit relaxing. However, there is something weird about it. Maybe it's just me, but when I was playing the game, very little of the soundtrack stick with me. I didn't thought much about it until much later. De repente se me vinieron las canciones a la cabeza y empecé a recordar no solamente las canciones mismas, sino también ciertos momentos del juego. It's a bit of an interesting experience with this particular soundtrack because it blends so well into the background that at first there wasn't much to say, but later, after the game session ends, it starts hitting hard like a truck. Even after beating the game, it still somewhat lingers in my mind. So, gameplay. Why they thought it was a good idea to make this game more linear? The answer? The SAX. At various points of the game, you will encounter this replica of Samus roaming around and hunting you. In those moments, you only have two options: hide or run. Every single encounter with the SAX is tense and very much memorable. But there is a bit of a problem. They are scripted. After playing this game several times, you will know exactly where is going to be an SAX encounter, and in consequence, you know what to do.
¡Oh! ¡La falta de respeto!
There is nothing wrong with this approach, but it's only effective the first time. Future playthroughs will ruin a bit those moments, especially if you want to get the various endings that the game has to offer. For story, there is not much I can add since the game has a bit more of a traditional story, pero aquí les va. As the computer indicates where to investigate, Samus immediately heads there. Al entrar a la sala de cuarentena, se da cuenta que el lugar está destrozado. ¿Quién o qué podría haber hecho todo este daño? Even with the odds against her, Samus still heads where the X are gathering to hopefully end this. Y aunque sea por un momento, se pierden sus pensamientos. Entering the area where the X are gathering, she is able to witness what they were doing, y el X se transforma en Arachnos en cuanto nota su presencia. If just a handful of X can cause so much trouble, ¿quién sabe qué pasaría si más de ellos se propagaran por toda la estación? Al explorar Sector Troll, she encounters for the first time the SAX. Fortunately, it did not notice her. For now. Maybe the SAX didn't arrive here, but something else has, and it has taken over the series. Ahora, un ser desinfectado X ataca a Zeus. Mientras Samus investiga el Sector Pyre, a rogue security man comes out of nowhere and attacks her. But before she can do something about it, it escapes. As Samus explores Nock, she once again encounters the SAX. And while it was able to destroy the floor beneath it, afortunadamente no encuentra a Samus. Una vez más, está a salvo. Después de haber derrotado a otro parásito X, Samus recupera el Varley Suit. While journeying through Sector Arc, something is looming, como un depredador acechando a su presa.
Emergency in Sector 3. Emergency in Sector 3. Emergency in Sector 3. Emergency in Sector 3.
Al llegar al boiler de la estación, más criaturas infectadas con X se interponen en el camino. She reaches the control room and a human is there. What is he thinking? En realidad, era un X, haciéndose pasar. Wait, there are survivors? Then perhaps it's not too late. Los sobrevivientes resultaron ser los animales que Samus encontró en Ceres. Sí, salvaste a los animales, ¿verdad? ¿Verdad? ¿Qué es tan importante que requiere decirle a Samus en persona? Y al parecer se les olvidó pagar el recibo de luz. Wait a moment. Ridley? What are you doing here? You're supposed to be dead. Now it's up to Samus to fix the power station. ¿De dónde salió toda esta maleza? Esto tiene que ser obra del X. With the auxiliary power back online, Samus is able to buy some time, just enough to get to the source of all this weed. search, Samus encounters the SAX, but this time she isn't so lucky. Finalmente, Samus encuentra el origen de la maleza y es hora de acabar con ella. Y como de costumbre, es el X el que estaba detrás de esto. With the source of the Wii taken care of, she can now reach where the disturbance is located. Parece que lo que estaba en sector ARC ha escapado. Samus ahora tiene que detenerlo antes de que cause más estragos en la estación. With the nightmare defeated, she recovers the gravity suit, one step closer to getting back to what she used to be. Samus se encuentra con el bot de seguridad una vez más, y esta vez no lo va a dejar escapar.
Warning, no entry without authorization.
No entry without authorization. What could there possibly be here that requires authorization?
No entry without authorization. Warning, no entry without authorization.
Así que esto es lo que la Federación hace tras bambalinas. Todo es un engaño para poder hacer experimentos con Metroids. The SAX? What is it doing here? Unless it wasn't searching for Samus all along, but for the Metroids.
20 seconds to...
The secret laboratory was ejected with the SAX. Is it finally over? Antes de poder retirarse, Samus tiene un último asunto pendiente. ¿Qué dice Shitley? ¿Un último baile? Is that a Metroid husk? Entonces, Adam ha estado con Samus todo este tiempo. Pero, ¿por qué ir tan lejos al ocultar su identidad? Now, there is no running or hiding. It's just Samus and the SAX. Before she could absorb the SAX, the core escapes.
Propulsion sequence activated.
Con la órbita cambiada, es hora de largarse de este lugar, pero ¿dónde está la nave?
Skyview Final Cities Valley, not from words that you have. Look. Skyview Final Cities.
Muchas gracias por haber visto el video. I know I took a long time, but rest assured, I will continue making these videos for the 1 or 2 people that are watching this. Y posiblemente trataré de ser más consistente. No prometo nada. Once again, thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, hit the like button, share if you can, and see you in the next video. Trataré de no tardarme los años. Chayote.